Obadiah, a miraculous journey of hidden voices discovering God's divine plan of redemption. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, Israel stood in ruin, the glory of the Almighty overshadowed by despair. A fragile kingdom, split and bowing under the weight of foreign oppression, found its heart in the wailing silence of desolate Jerusalem. As Queen Jezebel schemed, intent on exterminating the prophets of Yahweh, one man emerged from the shadows, a faithful servant known as Obadiah. Obadiah, whose name means servant of Yahweh, lived in the northern kingdom, within the treacherous court of King Ahab. Though loyal to his king, he bore a deeper allegiance that thrummed quietly in his soul. He served the living God who had once delivered Israel. As he walked the opulent halls veiled in danger, his heart bore the secrets of 100 hidden prophets, sheltered in caves carved deep within the mountains, their lives entrusted to his care. Each night, while darkness wrapped the land like a heavy cloak, Obadiah implored the Almighty for guidance and strength, praying that the laughter of Edom would be silenced. In the stillness of his secret chamber, Obadiah felt the weight of the world's betrayal. Edom had turned its back in Israel's hour of need. The memories of Jerusalem, once a proud testament to God's covenant, now lay in smoldering ruins. As whispers of despair filled the air, he sensed the collective faith of his people waver, straining under the oppression that had stolen their hope. One fateful dawn, as the sun kissed the hills of Samaria, Obadiah stepped into the light with trembling resolve. He made his way toward the remnants of Jerusalem, his heart pounding with both dread and purpose. The path was rocky and treacherous, each step drawing him closer to a vision God had placed upon his heart, a vision of judgment against Edom. The laughter of their mockery echoed in his ears, taunting him as he recalled the devastation they had wrought upon God's chosen. He met a fellow servant of the Most High, an old companion who walked beside him through the ruins. Together, they pondered the path that lay ahead, grappling with the weight of their charge, to confront the pride of Edom while nurturing the flickering flame of hope in their people's hearts. As Obadiah gazed over the crumbled stones of the once magnificent city of David, they discussed how the hand of God might move through them amid chaos. At a critical moment, as he took a breath, visions unspooled like threads of light, of a remnant rising to reclaim what had been lost, a restoration promised by the God of Israel himself. The thought ignited a powerful zeal in Obadiah's heart. Yet, as he steeled himself, shadows of doubt loomed near, tightening around him. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. As Obadiah stood before the ruins, the challenge was clear. Would he risk everything to call out Edom for their betrayal and awaken the hearts of his people? The weight of decision rested heavily upon him, yet he remembered the whispers of divine guidance amid turmoil, the call to listen closely for the still small voice of the Almighty. This journey would lead him down a perilous path, filled with trials and the echoes of hidden voices yearning for redemption. Could his singular act of courage awaken a nation teetering on the brink? As hope and fear intertwined, Obadiah prepared to step into the unfolding mystery of God's divine plan, knowing that in the shadows of chaos there lay a promise waiting to be fulfilled. As Obadiah gazed upon the remnants of Jerusalem, his spirit wrestled with the enormity of the task before him. A great wind howled through the charred remains, and it seemed that the very stones cried out in lamentation, echoing the hopeless cries of his people. Yet amid despair, Obadiah felt the flame of resolve stoked within him, ignited by the remembrance of God's faithfulness to Israel. Lord, he prayed fervently, grant me the strength to speak your truth. Let not my heart quail in the face of deceit, but embolden me against the sorrows of Edom, for your name must be glorified. Thus, with fervent prayers still fresh upon his lips, Obadiah began his charge toward the heart of the darkness that enveloped his homeland. He walked among the ruins, feeling the tremor of the very earth beneath him, as if it too anticipated the divine movement yet to unfold. He sought the hidden prophets, their presence like a distant hum, vibrant testimonies of faith whom God had preserved. "Behold," Obadiah proclaimed as he gathered them in a secluded glen outside the city, "the time draws near, and our God shall rise against the pride of Edom. Gather your strength, for the Lord has not forgotten his promises. We shall call upon his name, and he will deliver us." Whispered reticence prevailed, hearts tempered by fear of Queen Jezebel's wrath and the lurking watchfulness of Edom's spies. Yet, in the eyes of the prophets, Obadiah discerned glimmers of faith kindled anew. Among them stood Eliakim, a seasoned prophet whose voice carried the weight of years and trials. "Obadiah, we have witnessed the fall of our cities and the mockery of our enemies," he spoke solemnly. "But what assurance do we have that the Lord's hand will not falter amidst our plight?" Obadiah met Eliakim's eyes, his own heart wrestling with the doubts that plagued him. But the visions he had received, the remnant rising, the restoration promised, spoke louder than his fears. "Remember," he replied with conviction, "the Lord has promised through his servant Isaiah, though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken. He is faithful to his word, and we must stand in faith." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange light upon the earth, the gathering of prophets swelled with a renewed hope. Rallying around Obadiah, they joined in fervent prayer, invoking the name of Yahweh for guidance and strength. In that solemn moment, the deafening silence of despair was shattered, replaced with a chorus of voices crying out for mercy, for vindication, for an awakening of the nation. But lurking in the shadows, unseen eyes watched their gathering intently, whispers traveling swiftly through enemy lines. At that very hour, Edom's king received word of Obadiah's bold rallying of the hidden prophets. The hum of danger buzzed about him, feeding the embers of rage in his heart. "Let them gather," he sneered, "for their voices will be silenced amidst the might of my hand." Unbeknownst to the king of Edom, a greater power, the Lord Almighty, was stirring just beyond the horizon. In the chambers of heaven, a decree was forged, binding the hearts of the faithful and kindling the flame of hope. The sovereign plan of God was being meticulously woven amid the chaos. Obadiah sensed the approaching tide of conflict, knowing that this venture to confront Edom would ignite a holy clash, a revealing of divine justice that would resonate through generations. What role would he play in unfolding God's plan for his people? As he stepped forward into the darkness, he understood that within every trial lay the promise of deliverance, like a whisper of hope in the face of despair. And so the stage was set for a confrontation where faith would meet fear, and the Almighty's sovereign purpose would soon be revealed. Would the veil of darkness surrounding God's people be lifted, or would Edom's mockery prevail? The answer lay in the heart of obedience and the faithfulness of the God who had called his prophets to rise once more. As the dawn broke over the shattered remains of Jerusalem, a new resolve filled the air. Obadiah, surrounded by the gathered prophets, lifted his eyes to the heavens, sensing an urgency shifting within his spirit. The sun's rays pierced through the remnants of darkness, illuminating the faces of those who had gathered, a congregation ignited by faith and steadfast hope. "Brothers and sisters," Obadiah spoke, his voice strong and unwavering, "as we stand here, let us remember the words of our God, spoken through the mouth of his prophets. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine." Isaiah 43:1. These are not mere words, but the assurance of our identity as children of the Most High. As his words resonated among the prophets, a fire ignited within their hearts. Eliakim, emboldened by Obadiah's faith, raised his hands to the heavens. "We have remained hidden like seeds buried in the ground, yet the time has come for us to sprout forth, undaunted by the threats of our enemies. For it is written, 'The righteous shall be like a tree planted by streams of water.'" Psalm 1:3. Let us bear fruit and testify to the goodness of our God. United in purpose, they began to chant the names of the saints and the promises yet to be fulfilled, echoing through the glen, a powerful declaration against the encroaching shadows. As their voices intertwined, A sweet fragrance of worship ascended, as if it were an offering unto the Lord. The air thickened with anticipation, and even the stones of Jerusalem seemed to tremble beneath the weight of divine presence. In the chambers of Edom, the king's advisers quaked with unease at the gathering momentum of the prophets. "What sorcery is this?" the king demanded, his voice dripping with disdain. "Do they think their voices hold any power against my sword? I shall silence them once and for all. Send forth the swiftest riders. We must crush their spirit before it ignites the hearts of the people." Yet unbeknownst to the adversaries, God's sovereign plan was unfolding beyond their sight. In the heavenly realms, the cries of his faithful echoed, stirring a movement of angels prepared for battle. The Lord spoke to his angels in whispers of promise, reminding them of his covenant with Israel. "Fear not, for I shall bring salvation, for I am faithful to those who call upon me in truth and sincerity," he decreed. Meanwhile, Obadiah and the prophets continued their fervent prayer, beseeching the Lord for divine clarity. Amidst the tumult of their cries, Obadiah felt a tremor run through his very being, a prophetic stirring that beckoned him to proclaim further. "Listen now, O prophets of the Most High. What we do today shall echo through the ages. The Lord shall bring justice upon Edom, for it is written, 'For I will make you a threshing sledge, new and sharp, with many teeth.'" Isaiah 41:15. "We will thresh the mountains and crush them as chaff." As if to affirm his words, a swirling cloud built on the horizon, dark yet brimming with purpose, a storm that heralded the approaching conflict. The sound of thunder rumbled deep within the heavens, echoing the promises of God, even as uncertainty loomed over the land. "Prepare yourselves, for battle is imminent," cried Obadiah, sensing a surge of enthusiasm among the prophets. But a veil of treachery remained stretched across the heart of Edom, and as darkness gathered, the king seethed with malevolence. For he was determined not to let the voices of the prophets drown in the thunder. He would extinguish their flickering flames before they became a conflagration. Yet in the midst of gathering storm clouds, a whisper of hope lingered, tethered to the faithfulness of Yahweh. The clash of wills was upon them, but Obadiah held tight to the promise. The Lord had a great and mighty plan hidden within the unfolding conflict, a plan that would not only free his people, but glorify his name among the nations. Would faith prevail as they stepped into the fray, or would doubt snuff out their voices in the oncoming storm? The answer lay in the hands of the Almighty, yet his steadfast love was sure, weaving a tapestry of redemption even amidst the impending chaos. "For as it is written, Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth, do you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43:19. The sovereign plan of God was yet to be revealed. As the storm clouds gathered, the winds howled with a fury unknown to the weary souls of Jerusalem. Obadiah stood among the prophets, their faces etched with resolve, and his heart brimmed with divine assurance. "Fear not," he proclaimed once more, his voice soaring above the storm. "For today the Lord shall display his mighty hand. We are but vessels, yet the Creator of the universe is at work within us." The air crackled with expectation as they joined in declaration, echoing the words of the psalmist. "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" Psalm 27:1. The world around them trembled, not from the anger of man, but from the stirring of the Almighty. Then a messenger arrived, breathless and urgent, his garments billowing against the gusts of the tempest. "Obadiah, the king of Edom sends forth his armies to silence your cries. They march upon the mountains, fierce and unyielding." At this news, a solemnity gripped the gathering. Yet as the horizon darkened and the shadows crept closer, Obadiah felt a fresh wind of resolve fill his lungs. "Let us gather in prayer, for it is written, the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much." James 5:16. "In this hour we shall invoke the very power of the heavens." With one voice the prophets knelt upon the ground, their faces to the earth, and began to cry out to God. "O Lord of hosts, our shield and fortress, do not forsake us in our time of need. Deliver us from the hands of our oppressors, and let your name be exalted among the nations." As their pleas ascended like incense before the Almighty, the ground trembled beneath them. A sudden flash of light broke through the clouds, illuminating a path through the darkness. Obadiah felt the urgency of God's call wrapping around him like a mantle, and he proclaimed with renewed vigor, "The Lord will fight for us, for the battle belongs to him. As David defeated Goliath with a mere stone, so shall our victory come from his hand." In the unseen realm, the angelic hosts stirred at the sound of faith echoing through the earth. "Go forth," commanded the Lord. "Protect my people, for I have called them and will not abandon them. I will make a way where there seems to be no way." The storm rumbled like the mighty armies of God, but it was not a roar of destruction, rather a symphony of creation vibrating with divine authority. The prophets, renewed by the conviction of God's promises, began to rise from their knees, their spirits emboldened. As they prepared for the impending clash, the battlements of Edom quaked with anecdotes of the miracles performed by the God of Israel. Whispers of fear flickered through their ranks, for they had heard the stories of how Egypt's chariots were overturned in the sea, and walls of Jericho fell at the sound of praise. In the heart of Edom, the king paced in his chamber, his confidence waning as dread seeped into his heart. "What has come upon me?" he lamented. "These prophets hold a power that even I cannot fully grasp. I shall not underestimate them. Send forth my entire army." The prophets of the Most High, now poised for battle, were not just servants. They became instruments of divine orchestration, ready to enact the will of heaven upon the earth. They united in purpose, their voices rising to declare, "We shall not tremble, for our salvation comes from the Lord." And as the clash neared, Obadiah felt a profound stirring within, a revelation that coursed through him like fire. "Lo, the Lord has not only promised us victory, he shall use this moment to reveal his glory, for it is written, 'I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts. I will be their God and they shall be my people.'" Jeremiah 31:33. This battle shall echo through generations. What lay ahead was not merely the clash of swords, but a confrontation of faith against fear, a testament of God's promise against the pretensions of kings. And in the depths of the unfolding battle, with skies darkened and hearts ablaze, the ultimate question loomed. How would God's sovereign plan come to fruition amidst the chaos? It was a mystery woven through the ages, a divine tapestry that would soon unravel before their eyes. The sound of war drums echoed through the mountains, reverberating like the heartbeat of a brewing storm. Obadiah and the prophets, now standing as a united front, prepared their hearts. Each of them knew the gravity of the hour. The air was thick with anticipation, mingling with the smoke of their offerings and the fervent prayers that had risen like incense to the heavens. "Behold," Obadiah declared, raising his voice to capture the attention of those gathered. "As the enemy approaches, so too does our God. We stand not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities of darkness that seek to extinguish the light." Ephesians 6:12. His words ignited fervor in the hearts of the faithful, a surge of holy confidence flooding their spirits. With every eye fixed on the mounts of Edom, the prophets entered a deeper place of prayer and supplication. "Lord, grant us wisdom," they interceded, "illuminate our path, and let our faith bear fruit in this hour of trial." Their voices blended into a sacred chorus, and the very stones beneath them seemed to resonate in agreement. At that moment, a flash of brilliant light struck across the heavens, casting away the dark shadows that loomed over their gathering. Obadiah, filled with a sudden sense of purpose, sensed a shift in the atmosphere. "Listen," he commanded. "The Lord speaks. He promises, 'I have heard your prayers and have seen your tears. Behold, I will heal you.'" The Kings 25. Our cries have not fallen on deaf ears. A great roar erupted from the Edomite front lines, a fearsome sound as warriors clad in armor prepared to advance. But even amidst the clamor, the voices of the prophets soared higher, drowning out the threat with praises to the Almighty. Clarity filled Obadiah's heart. This was not merely a confrontation with an earthly army, but a divine opportunity to display God's unwavering power. As their battle cry rose toward the heavens, the very earth trembled. In the distance, the clouded hills began to shift as specters took form, unseen yet palpably felt. The prayers of the prophets ascended like flames, igniting the air with fervent expectancy and faith. In that sacred moment, an angelic host descended quietly alongside them, unseen to all save Obadiah, who beheld their splendor and relayed their presence to the others. "Fear not, For the army of the Lord is with us. Yet among their fervor, a hidden turmoil welled within Obadiah's heart. The weight of leadership pressed heavily upon him. What if we do not prevail? He pondered silently. Suddenly, a vision flooded his mind, a tapestry intricately woven with the threads of their prayers, triumphs, and covenant promises. "Ah, I see," he exclaimed, for in that moment the understanding dawned upon him. The victory belongs to the Lord, but even in defeat, his glory shall be revealed. Even as the dust rose and the air thickened with battle, a divine peace embraced the hearts of the prophets. The king of Edom, consumed by fear and uncertainty, could sense an undercurrent of strength emanating from his adversaries. It pierced him to his core, drawing his eye to the horizon where the flood of faithful souls sang through the storm. The earth shook even more violently now. The armies of Edom began their advance, their ranks filling with terror at the thought of the unseen forces arrayed against them. In this moment of tension, where fear clashed with faith, Obadiah cried out, "Let us bring forth the altar of the Lord. Let us offer to him the very sacrifice of our hearts." He urged the prophets to gather stones and build an altar as a testimony of their faith. They obeyed as the wind carried their proclamation through the land. "He who is mighty will act. The God of Israel shall arise, and his enemies shall be scattered." Psalm 68:1. As the first faint light of dawn broke over the horizon, illuminating the battlefield, it became clear. They were not just fighting for survival, but declaring the sovereignty of their God. The echoes of their cries mingled with the wind, heralding a moment that would resonate through generations. What lay ahead was a divine orchestration far beyond their understanding. The unfolding of God's intricate plan was poised to unveil truths that would alter the course of history. Would the prophets witness the hand of God in their midst, fulfilling promises perhaps long forgotten? Only in the clash of this day would the revelation emerge. As the first rays of light bathed the land in golden hues, the gathering of the prophets bound together in faith encircled the newly erected altar. Obadiah stood at the forefront, his heart beating in rhythm with the fervent cry of his companions. Their faces, illuminated by the dawn, reflected determination. Each of them was ready to face whatever trials awaited. "Brothers," Obadiah began, his voice resolute, "the God of our fathers has led us through many tribulations. Today, our unity and worship shall echo louder than the drums of war that seek to intimidate us." The prophets nodded in agreement, and the air crackled with an expectancy, a palpable blend of fearlessness and faith. In that moment, the sound of approaching footsteps grew louder, a fearsome march that rivaled the heartbeat of the mountains. From the Edomite ranks, a dark figure emerged, the king himself, adorned in royal garments, his brow furrowed from anxiety. "What confidence do you have, prophets of the Most High?" His voice sliced through the morning air, mingling with the rising sun. "You stand against a mightier force. Submit now, and your lives shall be spared." Obadiah, unwavering, raised his voice above the clamor. "You know not the power that stands with us. It is written, 'The Lord fights for you, and you have only to be silent.' Exodus 14:14. We shall not bow before falsehood." The strength of his declaration resonated through the multitude and awakened the spirit within them. The moment hung heavy in the air, both armies poised on the brink of confrontation. "Shall we stand idle?" Obadiah called out, igniting passion within the heart of every prophet. "This day, let us remember his mighty deeds. We will sing praises until the foundations of the earth tremble." As they lifted their voices in unison, the melody rose high, intertwining with the winds, creating a symphony of defiance against despair. "For our God is a consuming fire. He is a fortress in times of trouble," they proclaimed, reverberating their faith into the heavens. Suddenly, the dark clouds above began to swirl like a tempest, mirroring the turmoil on the ground. At that moment, fear swept through the ranks of Edom, for there, among the shadows, the unseen angelic host manifested briefly, flickering across the skies, a glimmer of divine reinforcement to all who watched. The Edomite soldiers exchanged nervous glances, hearts pounding at the manifestation of a power they could neither see nor understand. Doubt crept into their ranks, piercing through the bravado of their king. In his confusion, He commanded his men to attack, a desperate gamble against an enemy fortified by divine decree. As the armies clashed, the ground tremored beneath their feet. Obadiah urged the prophets onward. "Let us not retreat. Let us press into the promise of God. He is our shield and our buckler." Psalm 91:4. Trust in him. In the midst of the chaos, as swords clanged and cries filled the air, Obadiah found himself once again in prayer, calling upon the Lord. "Hear our plea, O mighty God. Show forth your hand of deliverance, and let not our voice be silenced." Then in the throes of battle, a whisper of clarity pierced through the din, the faint sound of heavenly wings brushing the earth, a reminder that God was intimately present. With each stride towards the enemy, the prophets enveloped themselves in prayer, invoking God's promises which echoed like thunder above. "You have declared, 'Call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me.'" Psalm 50:15. O Lord. Just as the horizon began to darken with the weight of impending strife, a divine glow illuminated the faces of the prophets. For at that very moment, something unexpected transpired. The Edomite ranks faltered, as though a great spirit of confusion fell upon them. They turned upon one another, fracturing the line of attack. Obadiah, witnessing this unfolding mystery, sensed the sovereign hand of God manipulating the course of events. The scene was a prophetic unveiling of what true armor looked like, a reflection of God's redemptive power among his people. As the battle and the hymn continued to clash, they would uncover not just victory in the present, but a foreshadowing of something greater, God's ultimate plan of redemption unfolding with each moment. What awaited at the conclusion of this divine confrontation was far beyond earthly comprehension, but the promise lingered. God was weaving a story of hope, joy, and restoration. What further revelations lay hidden in his sovereign will? Only time would unveil the tapestry of divine purpose. As the tumult of battle raged on, the prophets steeled their resolve, rooted in the unwavering belief that the Lord had not abandoned them. Obadiah stood firm, a beacon amidst the chaos, his heart echoing with the promises of God. "Fear not, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Joshua 1-9. The resounding truth of this declaration ignited a fire within the hearts of the faithful. The Edomites, bound in confusion, struggled to navigate this divine perplexity as their swords clashed not with their foes, but against one another. Confounding cries echoed like thunder, their once unified front now a tapestry of chaos unraveling. Obadiah saw this as a sign. His spirit quickened as he chanted, "O Lord, we claim your word. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against him." Isaiah 59:19. With renewed fervor, the prophets, emboldened by the sight of their adversaries faltering, united their voices. "Who is like you, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like you, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders?" Exodus 15:11. Each note, imbued with divine authority, permeated the very air, resonating deep in the hearts of all gathered. In the midst of this, a sudden calm enveloped the battlefield as though the heavens opened, and in that precious silence, Obadiah perceived a vision, an angelic host, arrayed in brilliant light, descending on the fray. The ethereal glow illuminated not just the ground, but the depth of their hearts, radiating truth and strength. He understood that they were not merely soldiers in a combat of flesh and blood. They were participants in a celestial conflict. Let your hearts be brave, O children of God, for our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers and authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness. Ephesians 6:12. With courage born of divine clarity, the prophets surged forward, empowered by the promise of victory that was theirs. In a moment of stillness, Obadiah fell to his knees, acknowledging the weight of the divine presence. "Lord of hosts," he implored, "let this day proclaim the glory of your name to all the earth. Let your mighty hand cause the hearts of men to know that you alone are God." With each plea echoed by the chorus of the prophets, the visage of the enemy grew dimmer. Among the Edomite ranks, the king watched in horror as the manifestation of a greater power unfolded before him. "Foolishness! Are we undone by whispers in the wind?" he roared, attempting to rally his forces even as they withdrew into disorder. Yet firmly anchored in faith, Obadiah and the prophets continued their battle hymn, unwavering in their devotion. The Lord is my strength, my song, and he has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will praise him. Exodus 15:2. As they proclaimed his greatness, the ground itself seemed to quake in response, heralding victory. Then, in that pivotal moment, God's voice pierced the air, resonating in the hearts of his chosen. This day I have set before you the promise of deliverance and redemption. As I delivered Israel from the hands of Pharaoh, so too shall I deliver you this day. And as the final echoes of turmoil rested upon the land, the trembling remnant of Edom could be seen retreating, a testament to God's sovereignty, moving mightily through the faith of his people. The prophets stood victorious, their faith bearing witness to the truth of God's unchanging nature. Yet as the dust settled and the dawn began to unfold its colors anew, a whisper echoed through the air, echoing a promise yet to be fulfilled. The King shall come forth as a light unto the nations. Redemption flows from his hand. What further plans does the Lord have for his people as he weaves together the fabric of history? The mystery of his sovereign will hang in balance, inviting the faithful to seek deeper. For in every trial God was crafting a tale of ultimate redemption that would resound through generations. As the sun rose over the battlefield, its golden rays illuminated the faces of the faithful, each reflecting the hope and wonder sown by the Almighty. Obadiah, still standing tall, surveyed the remnants of the strife left in the wake of the Lord's deliverance. The Edomites, hastening their retreat, left behind not only their armor but also the pride that once fortified their spirits. "Look upon them, O people of God," Obadiah called, gesturing towards the fleeing adversaries. "For behold, our God has turned their hearts to confusion and caused their swords to turn against themselves. Is not this a testimony to his great power?" He lifted his voice in a rousing declaration, vibrating with the fervor of prophetic vision. "The Lord has indeed fought for us this day, and we shall proclaim his marvelous deeds." The faithful chorused their agreement, their hearts united in the praise of the one true God. His mercy endures forever. His faithfulness is our strength. With every note that arose, the wind danced around them, as if nature itself joined in the grand chorus of exaltation. But as the joy of victory surged, a heavy weight did not escape Obadiah's heart. The victory was assured, but the land still bore scars of conflict. The cries of those who had suffered echoed in his ears. The exiled and the broken needed further deliverance. "O Lord," he prayed silently, "how shall we comfort those who have lost so much in the throes of war?" Suddenly the sky darkened, and the air grew thick with anticipation. A voice, low yet powerful, rippled through the gathering, a voice like thunder that shook the very foundations of the earth. "Obadiah," it called, summoning him, "the plans I have for my people stretch beyond what you understand. The battle won today is but a prelude to greater works." With faltering breath, Obadiah fell upon his face, and in that moment, he felt enveloped by the overwhelming presence of the Lord. "This is but a glimpse of the deliverance I will bring forth. Through you, I will raise a remnant that shall declare my glory to the nations. Do you not know that I am working out all things according to the counsel of my will?" "Lord," Obadiah responded, trembling yet emboldened, "show me your heart. Reveal to me what lies ahead, for your ways are higher than ours, and your thoughts beyond our comprehension." The divine presence responded, illuminating his mind with visions of what was to come. All the nations would be drawn unto Mount Zion, where the true king would reign. "In the days to come," the voice trembled with authority, "I will establish my covenant anew. The hearts of men will be turned like the rivers of water, and there shall be a pure offering raised among them." With these words, a flood of peace washed over Obadiah. "He is calling us to greater works," he whispered to himself, understanding that the trials endured were shaping not only his heart, but the hearts of many for the unfolding of God's greater promise. Rising once more, he turned to the remnants of Israel. "Fear not, for the Lord is with us. From this day forth we shall not only tread upon the soil of our inheritance, but we shall also become instruments of his reconciliation." Yet even as hope ignited around him, the mysteries of God remained. What shall this new covenant fully entail? Obadiah pondered, knowing that while victory had been seized in this moment, the tapestry of God's plan was yet unfurling. A deeper longing stirred within the community, for they were to be partakers in a grand narrative yet to be revealed, a promise stretching far beyond their present understanding into the annals of eternity. With hearts prepared for what was to come, they yearned to understand what further design the Lord was crafting as he turned their eyes to things divine. What monumental era of redemption awaited them, hidden in the folds of the future. The revelation was near, yet a sacred silence spun through the air, echoing the heart of God's unfolding grandeur. As the dawn's light pierced the lingering shadows of night, Obadiah, strengthened by his encounter with the Lord, summoned the people together once more. A fervent unity permeated the air as those who had witnessed the miraculous victory felt the weight of their collective destiny pressing upon them. "Gather, O children of Zion," he called, his voice resolute yet tender. "Let us not merely bask in the glow of today's triumph, but prepare our hearts for the promise that lies ahead. For the Lord has spoken, and his words carry power, shaping the very fabric of our existence." With renewed vigor they formed a circle around him, their faces upturned in expectation. They knew that Obadiah had been chosen, that the unseen realms were shifting, and they hungered to partake in the unfolding of God's grand design. Obadiah lifted his hands, palms open toward the heavens, as if to catch the words that hovered there, waiting to be revealed. "O Lord, grant us understanding," he cried. "What do you desire of us? How shall we walk in this new covenant?" The heavens answered with a gentle warmth, the very air alive with divine presence. A whisper came like the rustling of leaves in a holy breeze. "Your obedience will echo through generations. Seek justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with me. This is the path that leads to the fulfillment of all my promises." The crowd stirred anew, their hearts igniting at the command. Murmurs of agreement rose like incense before the throne of God, affirming their commitment to live righteously. "We will be a people of justice," they vowed, voices unified in sacred resolve. "We will love mercy, for it is through mercy that we are made whole." Obadiah, sensing the weight of their vows, felt the burden of leadership settle heavily upon him. "But know this, brethren," he spoke, his voice thick with urgency. "Our journey is not yet completed. Trials shall come. The enemy will seek to divide and conquer, yet within our trials his purpose shall be revealed." As they stood upon the threshold of a new era, a distant sound began to rise, a murmuring that felt both foreign and familiar. The elders looked toward the horizon, where darkened clouds began to gather, but among them, the unmistakable shape of a celestial chariot emerged, radiating glory. "Listen," Obadiah urged them. "The Lord's host rides forth. He is establishing his reign over all the earth. This is not an end, but rather the commencement of his sovereignty being revealed." With awe the people turned their eyes skyward, where the vision unfurled before them. The chariot of the Lord descending in thunderous magnificence, heralding a promise yet unspoken. "Do not fear, for this sign is a token of the new covenant," Obadiah reassured them, his voice steady despite the tremors of the earth beneath their feet. "For behold, a greater deliverer is coming, one who will lead us in righteousness and restore the hearts of many." As the visions dissipated, the people were left breathless, pondering the magnitude of what had just transpired. They recognized that their struggle was part of a grander narrative, one that echoed throughout time, a narrative of redemption woven intricately into the heart of God. "Who can comprehend this?" one of the elders murmured, filled with wonder. "Yet," Obadiah replied, his heart aflame with divine purpose, "we are called to respond. For in our obedience lies the key to unlock his sovereign plan. Let us step forward in faith, for the Lord does not forsake those who seek him." As they resolved to walk together in faithfulness, Obadiah knew that they stood on the cusp of a revelation, the fullness of which would reveal the depths of God's love and purpose. What awaited them beyond mere understanding was yet hidden, a treasure that would usher in the kingdom of God among the nations. But in the silence that followed, an unspoken query lingered in the hearts of the people. What role would each of them play in this magnificent tapestry? The mystery of God's redemptive plan beckoned still, just beyond their grasp, whispering promises of hope yet to unfold. As the dawn broke and painted the sky with hues of redemption, Obadiah stood at the forefront, where the remnants of battle gave way to the promise of new beginnings. The cries of victory that had once echoed across the land now transformed into a symphony of hope. Jerusalem, though marked by scars, would rise again, as the Almighty ordained that the very ruins would become the canvas of His grace. Gathering the faithful, Obadiah addressed the assembly with a heart ignited by divine passion. "O beloved of the Lord," he proclaimed, his voice carrying the weight of prophetic urgency, "do not linger in the shadows of past despair. For today, we are witnesses not only to victory over our foes, but also to the resurrection of faith that God has destined within us." With renewed fervor, the people of Israel lifted their voices, a chorus of faith that reverberated through the valleys. "The Lord has delivered us. His mercy endures forever," they cried, their spirits enveloped in the warmth of divine assurance. Then came the silencing of whispers that had plagued their minds. The doubts that raised fear within their hearts were swept away like dust before the wind. Obadiah, standing amongst them, sensed the heavens opening, a revelation unfolding as if the very heavens conspired to unveil the truth of God's unshakable promises. "For the Lord has spoken," he declared, capturing their attention. "As it is written, I will gather them from among the nations and bring them to their own land. I will shepherd them like a flock." In the crowd, the eyes of the prophets glimmered. The memory of conflict still echoed, yet hope ignited within their souls, a flicker becoming a flame, illuminating the way forward. Among them, Eliakim rose, emboldened by the Spirit. "What shall we do now, Obadiah?" he inquired, his voice tinged with anticipation. "How do we rebuild from the ashes that once engulfed us?" Obadiah met his gaze, shoulders square with holy resolve. "We shall arise as the hands and feet of our God. We must nurture our community, drawing from the wells of His grace. As He promised, we will be fruitful and multiply, lighting the pathway to restoration. We will rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, not merely with stones but with faith, hope, and love." And so, with laden hearts but new vigor, the people prepared to reclaim their inheritance. They gathered the remnants of the destroyed city, the broken walls now resonating with renewed purpose. Together, they laid each stone, dedicating their work as an act of worship. Each placement a declaration of faith in their God who had fought for them, who had redeemed them. As the days turned into weeks, murmurs of restoration filled the land. The once-forgotten prophets, emboldened through their trials, began to preach the good news of redemption, inviting all to turn back to the Lord. Their words flowed like streams into the dry places of the earth, beckoning the hearts wandering far from the covenantal promise. In the midst of this movement, Obadiah felt the stirring of something greater, a melody humming beneath the surface of their newfound resolve. The plans of God were unfurling, revealing His intent to invite not just Israel, but the Gentiles as well, into the fold of His love. "Indeed," Obadiah proclaimed one evening as the sun set behind the mountains, "the Lord would raise a people who would shine forth as beacons of hope to all nations, a promise of the coming King who would dwell among us, offering salvation to every soul." With rapt attention, the assembly listened as Obadiah heralded the future. "For the time shall come when the very hearts of the nations will turn to the one true God, witnessing the splendor of His reign. He is the light that breaks through the darkness, the Redeemer whose hands shall mend the brokenhearted." As the seasons changed, the prophetic promise grew among the people, a longing for something transcendent, something that called for preparation. Obadiah gathered them once more, and as the faithful encircled him, he closed his eyes in prayer. "O Lord," he whispered, the weight of generations pressing down upon him, "prepare us for the calling You've placed upon us. Let our hearts be steadfast, our hands ready to serve as we walk in obedience unto You." At this moment, the sun dipped low, casting a golden glow over Jerusalem. The air vibrated with an unexplainable energy, as if the very atmosphere held its breath in anticipation. A deep stillness enveloped them, yet the promise of awakening lingered with palpable urgency. Obadiah, sensing the gravity of their sacred month of preparation, raised his voice once more. "Prepare the way, for the King is coming. His reign shall be like a river of water to a parched land, bringing forth fruits of righteousness, joy, and peace. The people erupted in praise, their shouts echoing through the hills. Come, Lord Jesus, they cried in unison. A longing birthed from the depths of their souls. Their hearts beat as one. They yearned for the fulfillment of God's ultimate promise, a promise that would not only restore their broken land but would redeem all creation. The day of fulfillment was drawing near, and within the hearts of the faithful, faith unfurled like a banner, proclaiming the goodness of God. The presence of the Lord enveloped Jerusalem, as echoes of praise swept over the land, igniting a fire that could not be extinguished. They would rise together, generations marked by faith in the God who is ever faithful, who had led them through trials and into a legacy of redemptive hope. Listen, Obadiah urged them, a spark of fervor in his eyes. For now the voice of the Lord is a clarion call rising among the nations. We are called to be vessels of his love and instruments of his peace. In the days ahead, we shall see the glory of the Lord revealed upon the earth. Thus, with hearts united under the banner of hope, the people took their stand, ready to step boldly into the promise of their God, for they were part of his unfolding story, heralds of light that would shine in darkness and witnesses of his eternal grace. As they lived out their testimony, the tapestry of God's redemptive narrative wove even more intricately, revealing that despite trials and tribulations, the call for obedience remained, the steadfast promise that his faithfulness endured forever. Now, dear friends, as we conclude this powerful account, let us not forget the urgency of our own journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next powerful biblical stories, for they are lifelines to our faith. Leave a like now to help spread God's word through the algorithm, for only with your support can the truth continue to reach hearts yearning for hope. Comment below with your spiritual reflections and share how this miraculous story has impacted your faith journey. For together we grow stronger in his love. And most importantly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. Don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony, for true believers understand the importance of supporting biblical content to reach more souls for Christ. Let us rise together proclaiming his faithfulness as we step boldly forward into the unfolding story of redemption.